Hi Tracy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well, yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to run across into another building right now, so we're just going to leave the microphone unmuted. They'll go ahead in here when it's time to start, okay?
Okay, you'll let me know. Okay, thanks.
We'll probably have a chat now in between.
Yeah, it's Paul Forrest here, so we just got a couple of minutes to go and then it'll all be sorted.
Okay, that sounds good, Paul. I'm getting a lot of distortion from you. Are you getting distortion from me?
No, not from you.
Okay, it's just on my side. Okay, no, that's good to know, yes.
It's actually one of the best pieces of sound we've had all day.
Oh, fantastic. So,
some of it has been quite entertaining.
Okay, as in entertaining in what? In what way?
We could hardly hear it. It was like we heard every second letter, but we didn't hear it.
Okay. So you had to kind of figure out what they were trying to say, and it was like joining the dots.
Yeah, that was it.
Mm.
It was only the other ones have all been quite good.
Yes. Oh, excellent. So I was saying to Fraser, how long have the other trade officers used the weekend?
We've been doing these for about, you mean in terms of timing?
Yes.
Some of them have done 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and Germany just went and did 50 minutes. But it's entirely up to you. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
What we're doing now is in the main conference room where the main audience is. We're just going to do a link to them. So we're just here, and it'll be broadcast live on our web, but also it will go in front of the main conference. So, so that should be quite a good audience today.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, because my presentation is only about 15 minutes because, like I say, it's just an overview.
Yeah, and then we'll just ask. Then hopefully we'll generate questions, and we'll be okay.
Exactly. Yeah, kind of just so big that if I wanted to talk, I could talk for hours, but I don't want to.
No problem.
Right.
Any questions?
So, Paul, will you introduce me, or do I just go straight onto it?
They're going to introduce you in the other room.
Okay, will I hear this?
No.
Okay.
What's going to make it entertaining? They're going to tell you when the presentation is finished, and then we'll go. I'll just tell you to go live, and we're off.
Okay, so you'll tell me, they just introduce you, Tracy, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great.
If it works, we've broken new ground.
Okay. So, Paul, one last question. This is happening in Leicester?
Yes.
Okay. So I will say
the Twitter footprint is probably a few 100,000 now, and you usually get quite good coverage on our web streaming.
Okay, good.
All of the background information of the people that have either tweeted about you or whatever, then we will forward that to you.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay?
Okay, you're on, yeah, go.
Okay, Tracy, if you'd like to start your presentation now, please.
Fantastic. Thank you for that introduction. And good morning from me in beautiful, sunny, but a little bit chilly Calgary, Canada. And good afternoon to our friends over in Leicester. Thank you for listening to this presentation on the Canadian marketplace and opportunities for UK companies. My name is Tracy Grindle and I work as a trade officer for UK Trade and Investment in Canada. I'm based in Calgary in Alberta. We have 4 additional offices in Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto and Vancouver. Some of you may already be working with my trade colleagues from these other offices. As a trade officer, my focus is on the energy and mining sectors. Energy including on and offshore oil and gas, nuclear and all the renewables, so wind, solar, tidal and etc. Other priority sectors for Canada include food and drink, the creative industries, financial services, defence and security, aerospace, ICT and waste and water. 3 of these I'll touch on briefly today. Our role across the network is to help UK companies export into Canada. We also work with Canadian companies looking to source from the UK. On the flip side, my investment colleagues work with UK companies looking to set up in the UK. Today I'm going to give you a high-level view of the Canadian market, highlight a few of the priority sectors, talk a little bit about the upcoming comprehensive free trade agreement with Europe, and signpost you to where you can go for more information either on exporting generally, which you've probably heard about a lot today, or to Canada more specifically. Canada is a large country and the size differential is sometimes hard to get your head around. I know when I emigrated to Canada as a teenager, the distances seemed a bit overwhelming coming from the northeast of England. The UK is only 2% of Canada's landmass, or in other words, Canada is 40 times bigger than the UK. To look at this another way, it is quicker for someone to fly from the east coast of Canada to the United Kingdom than it would be for me to fly from Vancouver on the west coast to St. John's in Newfoundland. In all, we cover 6 time zones. However, even though we have all this space, our population is only about half of that of the United Kingdom. This is all very important if you're planning a scoping visit to the country and you want to cover more than one area. We are surrounded by 3 oceans and have the largest coastline of any country in the world and the largest undefended border at about 9,000 kilometers with the United States. Canada is made up of 10 provinces and 3 territories. The country is a federation with the provinces giving power to the federal government. This is very important as our provinces hold jurisdiction or have responsibility for certain things such as healthcare, energy, education, infrastructure, labelling and standards. In addition, we also have local or municipal governments. The country has 2 official languages, French and English, again very important in areas such as labelling and communication. Canada has an urban population with about 80% of us living in towns or cities, the majority of those within 200 kilometres of the US border. The largest cities are Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary and Ottawa, our capital. Canada is part of the North American Free Trade Agreement with the United States and Mexico. This trade agreement is very important, accounting for over 1.4 billion US in trade every day between the 3 countries. For new exporters looking at North America, depending on your service and or product, Canada can often be a safer and easier landing spot. And again, establishment in Canada opens up the US and Mexican markets. Canada is the world's 11th largest economy and has a long beneficial trade and investment relationship with the United Kingdom. Originally, this relationship was built on historical, political and cultural links, which are still very important today, but has since evolved into commercial ties. Today, we maintain strong and mutually beneficial business connections and synergies in a number of sectors, especially among the knowledge-driven industries. The UK brand is well known and well received in Canada. Currently, over 700 UK companies have set up a presence in Canada in the form of subsidiaries, with many others represented in the market through partnerships and other forms of in-market representation or direct export. This slide shows some of the major UK investments in Canada and vice versa. Before I talk about some of the major sectors that hold opportunities, I'd like to briefly highlight the Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement, or CETA as it's more commonly called, a really important trade deal and what it can mean for UK business. The goal of CETA is to remove the majority of tariffs between Canada and the EU. Research indicates it will boost UK exports to Canada by 29% and provide a £1.3 billion annual boost to the economy. Negotiations were started in May 2009 and concluded in August 2014. The agreement covers goods, services, procurement and investment. As the document is over 1,600 pages long, I'm only going to provide some highlights, but if you want to read the entire document, please go to the Government of Canada website. In terms of industrial and manufactured goods, 99.6% of non-agricultural goods tariffs will go to 0% upon entry into force. There will be a transition period for some goods, such as ships and automobiles. For consumer goods, tariffs will be eliminated upon entry into force. This includes tariffs on apparel and shoes. This also applies to e-shopping, with the caveat being that, of course, the goods are made in the United Kingdom. For food products, 92% of tariff lines will go to zero upon entry into force, except for poultry and egg products. This includes tariffs on sweets and chocolates. The cheese quota will increase and there will be changes to liquor imports, but they are very detailed. CETA also covers government procurement and services. There are also sections that will make the transfer of intercompany employees easier. UKTI Canada recently commissioned a research report that looks at the impacts on several sectors, which will be available in the near future. I can also refer you to our CETA expert at the British High Commission in Ottawa, who has lived and breathed the agreement for several years, if you have detailed questions referring to your product or service. At this time, the agreement is being translated into 23 languages and then work begins on ratification. It is hoped that entry into force will happen in early 2017. As I mentioned, we are publishing a report in the near future and the British government is working now to promote the agreement in the United Kingdom. Now we'll take a quick look at 3 priority sectors for Canada. But before I start, I just want to emphasize that if your product and or service does not relate to the 3 that I'm going to talk about, my colleagues and I are knowledgeable about sectors covering everything from playground equipment to mineral insulated cables to Christmas trees used in the oil and gas sector. So please don't think that because it isn't mentioned here that there's no opportunity for you in Canada. Relating to food and drink, Canada is the UK's 6th largest non-EU food and drink market, with exports to Canada being about £142 million in 2015. Because of our familial ties, traditional British products such as sugar, confectionery, chocolate, tea, sweet biscuits, crackers, jams or preserves and sauces do very well. Canada's middle class is affluent and expats have an affinity for products from home. I know I do. Whenever I'm over in the UK, my mum and dad always give me a big list of what I have to bring back. So usually if I go with half a suitcase, I'll come back with a full suitcase full of mushy peas, Yorkshire tea, that type of thing. Canadian buyers look to the UK as an innovator in product flavour combinations and packaging. Major growth categories relate to ethnic foods, free from foods, relating to various dietary intolerances, including lactose and gluten-free. Other demand areas are foods with nutritional appeal, salty snacks, flavoured teas and coffees, especially the single-serve sizes, healthy convenience meals, food to go, energy bars, and drinks and dairy-based snacks. On the alcohol side, gin, craft cider, and English sparkling wines are growth areas, in addition to craft beers, which are facing increased local Canadian competition, and whisky. Some key market entry tips on the food and drink side are, for food, Canadians will not buy from an overseas supplier unless they have experience in their home or overseas. Pay a listing fee if targeting a major supermarket, and be prepared to offer marketing support to representatives. Market an important importer or distributor who may work with a wholesaler and or broker. On occasion, an independent chain or store may request an exclusive deal and buy on a direct basis. Regarding alcohol, sales of alcoholic beverages is controlled by provincially managed monopolies and licensing systems, except for here in Alberta, where it is privatised. These monopolies, for the most part, manage the ordering, distribution, licensing, relationships, and establishment of prices. Off licenses do not exist, and retail sales via grocery stores is very limited, even where it is available, primarily in Quebec. As I mentioned, food and drink isn't my sector of expertise, but I would be very happy to introduce you to my colleague in Toronto. Called After News. Western Canada is also the MRO and aerospace manufacturing is growing fast in Atlantic sector. Suppliers and Boeing, Lockheed. The aerospace sector in Canada is mature and will face significant competition in areas. Sustainable aviation and renewable energy, fuel efficient energy development, to reap impacts of the CETA agreement, and again, NAFTA opens up and the third priority sector I'll highlight leading significant urban, regional and intercity.
Hi Tracy, sorry
to increase the yes.
Tracy?
Yes?
Yeah, you can hear me? Okay, so something's happening to the
yes.
connection. You just keep cutting up and keep trying to catch up with stuff. It seems like it's caught up a little bit now. Did you want to do that? Yeah, if you want to just carry on, and then we'll see if it's evened itself out now.
On the real side?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I think we've had a bit of disruption in feed. So I'm going to start off again with the rail. As I mentioned, the newly elected Liberal government promises to increase the federal contribution in infrastructure investment by almost £30 billion over the next decade, with £10 billion going to transit. As I mentioned at the beginning, because Canada is a federation, the federal government actually owns very little of our infrastructure, even though it does contribute financially for its construction. So the major owners and therefore major contributors are the municipalities and the pounds. Ontario, Quebec, British Columbia and Alberta are expected to see most of the. In Ontario, the Greater Toronto Hamilton area is one of the fastest growing urban areas in North America and is investing substantial sums in urban transport. In Montreal, Quebec, there will be a new electrified light rail project, an area where the UK is known to have expertise. In British Columbia, the city of Surrey is planning a light rail transit project, and Vancouver is planning an expansion of the SkyTrain. In Alberta, right here in Calgary, we are looking at the expansion of our light rail transit of an additional line. Rail transit and rail projects, there are opportunities for master planning, environmental consultancy, financial planning, engineering design services, project and commercial management, rail technologies including product supply and asset management, rolling stock and associated components and services, operations, the focus on signalling, maintenance and training, and again, anything related to electrification. While Canada presents opportunities to UK suppliers in this area, long-term commitment is key to success. In the sector, to win in Canada, British companies have to view it as a long-term win, involving regular meetings and visits with key buyers. UK expertise is well received in Canada, with many British expats operating at high levels with the various transit authorities. UKTI can assist you with your entry into Canada, providing information on how to do business in the country, helping you understand the business culture and best market entry steps best suited to your offering. Additionally, we can conduct research and make introductions to agents, clients, and partners for you. We also organise missions into and out of Canada to the UK and organise pavilions at Canadian trade shows. And on this slide, you will see my email address. And please don't hesitate to contact me with questions about any of the sectors we've spoke about today. And again, like I said, other sectors that I may not have mentioned, and we can do our best to assist you. This final slide illustrates the various areas where UKTI can access for help. For all exporters, not just those new to exporting, we strongly suggest you contact the local international trade advisor or ITA in your region, who can explain the various services offered in the UK and help navigate the exporting journey. I hope you've enjoyed this brief presentation on Canada, and now I'd be happy to answer any questions. So thank you.
Thank you very much for an excellent presentation coverage on what's happening in Canada. Apologies for we had a little bit of a problem with the internet. The first real question is, if you're going to do business in Canada, should you look at it as a number of discrete markets, or is there one centre by which you can operate from?
That's a very good question. While Canada is a country, but because we have 10 provinces and 3 territories, each of those provinces has a very distinct makeup, distinct in culture, distinct in how they do business. So there is no one. I mean, if you're looking at, for example, the sector I cover, energy or oil and gas, Calgary in Alberta is the corporate centre for the country. But so you would need to have a presence here. However, if you want to do work in Atlantic Canada, then you would need to have a base in St. John's, Newfoundland. So again, you really can't operate in Canada with only one office. If you take a look at some of the people that are over here right now, they'll take a look at Atlantic Canada is one region, so they should have Atlantic Canada. Then you have Central Canada, like Quebec and Ontario. Quebec being very different. I mean, you need to have French, you need to have a French distributor, French agent, speaking agent. That's very important. Then you have the prairies, Manitoba, and Alberta, and then you have British Columbia, which is distinct in its own right.
So some early research is well called for. But what
Yes.
I would like to ask, in terms of the energy sector, are there
Yes.
any trade fairs or exhibitions coming up in the next 6 months that East Midlands should be looking to target?
There are two, and it really depends if you're looking at the onshore market or the offshore market. If you're looking at onshore, then the Global Petroleum Show takes place in June. Probably the largest onshore trade exhibition in Canada. Usually about 50 to 60,000 people, 2,000 exhibitors are there. For UK companies, if you don't have a distributor out here or an agent or a current working relationship, I would advise against exhibiting because there's so many that you get lost. For a scoping mission, it would be good to come out and walk the show, to do your homework, to find out the people that you really need to speak to get an overview of the marketplace. Now, the International Trade Forum out of Sheffield are looking to bring out a mission to Calgary and Alberta around the show, not to exhibit at the show, but to attend the show for maybe 1 or 2 days, but then to visit places such as Red Deer, which is halfway between Calgary and Edmonton, which is a service supply centre, and then go up to Leduc and Rescue outside of Edmonton, which are the manufacturing centres for the onshore oil and gas sector. Now, for offshore, the major show is the NOIA conference, NOIA, which takes place the week after GPS. Of course, opposite ends of the country, Calgary, and then St. John's, Newfoundland, so a 4-day flight. But if you are interested in the offshore market, that is the show to attend. It is a conference, but in conjunction with that is the Atlantic Canada Petroleum Show. I mean, all the major operators there, all the major EPC companies, the distributors, etc. One thing about the offshore market in Canada, if you want to work in that market, you have to have a presence or you have to have a local distributor or partner. It is very, very important because of the local benefit agreements. I will be attending NOIA, and we are working with Scottish Development International to bring out a mission to that show. So if you have a Scottish office, even if you don't, please contact me and we can see what we can do to help you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. One couple of more questions.
Yes.
I know you said that the rail infrastructure is divided between the federal and the municipal government.
Yes.
Is there one central buying agency for all of them, or do you have to approach them separately?
You approach them separately. For example, if you wanted to approach what's happening in Toronto, then like I talked about the Greater Toronto Hamilton area, which actually has the 3rd largest urban transit network in North America. I didn't know that. But for the regional developments, Metrolinx is responsible. And for actual developments in the city of Toronto, it's the Toronto Transit Commission. In Calgary, you have to speak to Calgary Transit. Edmonton Transit. So no, there is no one central buying agency. You have to speak to them individually. Now, of course, there are conferences and exhibitions in Canada where they all attend together. So, I mean, unless you wanted to do hop, skip and jump all across the country, maybe that's something to look at, going to the show where they're all at and getting a good overview in one place. Because like I say, because of the distances, if you want to really cover the country, you're looking at a really good 2-week visit.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. I mean, there's been a brilliant coverage of what's happening in Canada. We have a few more questions emerging later on, and then we'll forward them to you. But obviously, on behalf of UKTI East Midlands, we'd like to invite you to come and visit the East Midlands and do a physical seminar in the near future, if that's okay. But we're seeing this as part of an initial process by which we're deepening the relationship between Canada and the East Midlands. But thank you very much indeed for your participation, and look forward to working with you in the near future.
Well, you're very welcome, Paul. And I'd love to come out to the East Midlands You know, like I said at the beginning, I am British born, raised in the northeast of England, and even though I'm a Canadian citizen now, the UK is always my home, will always be my home, and to help UK companies, it gives me a great sense of satisfaction. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Excellent. Look forward to working with you in the near future. And I hope you enjoy your Leicester City football shirt.
Thank you, Paul. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.